What's up, gamers? Welcome to episode number 2 of Short Pause Presents Tower Talk. I'm Ben, that's Brent, and this is our Destiny discussion video series where we talk any and everything in the world of Destiny. There's a lot of stuff going on in Destiny right now, so it just behooved us, Brent, that we break off our Destiny discussions into a separate video series. So here we are with episode 2 of Tower Talk. Last week we talked about the updated roadmap and the impending reveal of the Warmind and all that good stuff. This week we've got some more stuff to talk about. First and foremost, though, Iron Banner 6v6 has returned.
Yes.
So before we go over anything else, Brent, I wanna talk about Iron Banner. Want to get your thoughts on it. One of the things I'm not sure that people realize is that Iron Banner 6v6 isn't the only thing that's changed in Iron Banner. Now that they've kind of changed the rules on it, it's basically gone back to how it was in Destiny 1. So not only is it 6v6 now, but the rounds are longer. They're 12 minutes. 125 points is the threshold. The matches never go 12 minutes. They're usually about 7 or 8 minutes, but the lengthy timer is there. The respawn times have changed. All of the control zones start off neutral now, so you don't start like in the 4v4 with A and C already attached to the group that starts in those areas, and everybody's going for B. Now all of the zones are neutral when you start once again, and multiple people in the circle make you capture the zones faster once again, which was something else from Destiny 1. Power ammo has changed as well, so we're getting power ammo a lot more than we were previously in the Iron Banner, so that's exciting. And then obviously all of the Iron Banner weapons are available now, so whether that's Ormond's Anvil, Frostmire's Hex, everything and anything that was available during Season 2 is now available either for purchase from Saladin or from an Iron Banner engram. So, Brent, I ask you, what do you think of Iron Banner 6v6, man, in its first go-around, its return?
Boys, other than the results from when we played Iron Banner, I thought Iron Banner was a rousing return for the mode that we all really loved in Destiny 1. It's not in its true form where power or light levels come into play, but 6v6, it seems more chaotic, it seems more hectic, there's more action, there's just a lot more going on. I mean, all these maps were designed for 4v4, and some of them are still pretty big. Even with 6v6, you're not like constantly being hounded by people, but
like
dude, it was just really fun.
The Fortress map in particular, that one's huge.
Yeah, it is.
You're always, you can probably fit 8 versus 8 in that map.
Right. And it was good, man. It felt really good to play. It was exciting. Like I said, a lot of the matches that we played, we had a couple of good matches in there, but we were humbled this past week in the Iron Banner. But even in defeat, it was a lot of fun to play. We got a couple of guys in from the Destiny community, the Discord group. We had Dark Shadow Wolf, we had Bender, we had Jonathan from the group chat. So we all hopped in there and got some good 6v6 action. Like I said, we had some rough results, but it was in all, it was a lot of fun, dude. I had a great time with Iron Banner.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. Iron Banner feels really good. I mean, it's a blast right now to go in there with the 6v6. The matches are fast-paced, they're intense. The additional power ammo respawns in there, like keep the action moving, keep everything kind of at a fever pace. You're never kind of running around the map trying to find somebody to engage. There's always something to some action to find around the next corner, So, yeah, I've had a blast with it, man. Yeah, that's the only thing missing for me is what you said there, is the return of the power levels mattering once again in Iron Banner. I kind of feel like that's something only me and you have an issue with. I never see anybody else really talking about it, but yeah, I would love for them to return to where your power level and your gear and all that stuff like really matters in the Iron Banner, really changes based on the stuff that you've collected. So don't know if that's in the cards at any point in the future. That's the only thing for me that's missing from Iron Banner. I love its current incarnation right now with the 6v6, with the different capturing rules and all that stuff. It all feels really, really good, and it works perfectly with these maps, man. didn't feel out of place at all in terms of Iron Banner. So I'm with you. Rousing success for the return of Iron Banner. Just got to get in there and grind out the rest of those ornaments now.
Yes.
One note too, something we didn't realize, and I'm not sure if other people have not realized this as well, but Iron Banner will actually return once more during the last week of Season 2. So originally it was supposed to be Iron Banner and then either Mayhem or Rumble, and then Mayhem or Rumble and then Iron Banner again. But with the delay of Iron Banner last week, it moved the initial Iron Banner back a week, and some people thought maybe this would be the last one, us included. But they're going to stick to that original plan, and they'll just be Iron Banners within a couple of weeks of each other. So we get another one at the end of Season 2 here to try and grind out whatever weapons or ornaments that are still remaining. So that is good to know. Also, one more note on the Crucible here. Bungie did mention that, I know, obviously they've taken feedback about the Rumble playlist. They moved it back to 6v6 from to the 6-player group instead of the 8-player group because it was a little too chaotic with the version that they had before. There's some other fixes that are going to be available in the next update for Rumble, so just keep your eyes peeled for that as well. Now from there, Brent, we got a pretty juicy this week at Bungie post. There's a lot of good stuff in here as we ramp up towards the start of Season 3 here in the coming weeks. First and foremost, Bungie's been teasing us with these exotic weapon changes. So yes. Undoubtedly, the biggest change or the biggest update to come in Season 3 is going to be the exotic weapon pass. So they're going to get in there, they're going to tinker with the exotic weapons, and they really want to get in there and make them exotic again. So we saw Sturm and Drang a week or two ago, with the 2-shot the 2-shot death in the Crucible with Sturm and Drang if used correctly. So that looks like that gun combo getting beefed up considerably. Now, previously, Bungie had mentioned what they were planning to do with the Graviton Lance, Brent, and then they showed us a video this week, and man, that thing, it basically looks like it shoots Nova bombs. You're just firing off a void cannon into like a group of enemies. Heat-seeking missiles are coming out. It looks like a markedly different weapon. Just real quick, man, your thoughts on what you've seen from the Graviton Lance, a gun that's always been so cool. It's got a really cool look, a great sound, probably the best sounding gun in Destiny 2. When that thing fires, you just feel awesome, like letting that thing rip. But it wasn't up to snuff in terms of its abilities. But now changing the style of pulse rifle that it is, adding these explosions, changing the way that the gun fundamentally operates, this thing looks like it's going to be an absolute beast once Season 3 rolls around here, man.
Yeah, and that's what we really want from these exotic weapons. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been some cool exotic weapons throughout Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, but I think this step is necessary in truly making them exotic. There isn't another gun that has that type of perk that's going to that can change the tide of a battle, that can change things in PvE or in PvP. And that's what we want from these exotic weapons. You want to be able to be like, man, which exotic should I take into combat? Right now, exotics aren't a necessity for me. There's sometimes I'll roll out there without an exotic weapon at all, just because it doesn't fit what we're jumping into. I'm like, I don't need one. This will be like, okay, what do I need to sacrifice to get an exotic in here? What exotic do I need in here for this mission? And that's all we want from this game, and that's what we want from exotics, and that's what we're seeing here with the Graviton Lance.
Yeah, especially with the addition of Masterworks as well. So it's like when you have a Masterwork legendary gun, it's kind of tough to give up one of those to put an exotic in that slot just because it's an exotic, right? Yep. So that's another thing I'm looking forward to is those exotic Masterworks as well. So really, the entire landscape of the game going to change with Season 3, with the exotic Masterworks, with the exotic weapons pass. I can't wait to get my hands on Graviton Lance, man. That thing looks like a blast to play. Definitely in PvE, very curious to see how that thing's going to perform in PvP as well. But that wasn't it, Brent. So if you're not, make sure you're following Bungie. They're putting these little videos on their Twitter, and they're teasing us with what they're working on for these guns. Next up was Skyburner's Oath. Oh, yeah. Now, this is a pretty cool gun in Destiny right now. It's not flashy though. It doesn't have the spectacle. That's one of the things that Bungie mentioned. But what they've done with it now is they've made the weapon. They've increased the utility of it tenfold. So right now, when you with Skyburner's Oath, with the update, you're gonna have a couple different options here. So you're gonna be able to aim down the sights, and that's gonna be like your laser focused. It's gonna fire out your solar slugs that are powerful against your enemies from a distance. But when you fire from the hip, this thing essentially like turns into a grenade launcher, dude. It just fires off like heat-seeking solar projectiles. It still does the additional damage against the Cabal, and it fires off at a much faster rate when you hip fire. So the video they showed of this showed off a pretty cool looking gun. So just in Bungie's words, this is how they describe it. This is I forgot who was on the blog this week, but the guy that was talking about the exotic weapons. A while back, I talked about Graviton Lance, and how one of the main areas to improve was the lack of utility within a pretty successful show of spectacle. Skyburner's Oath has almost the opposite problem. It's a comparatively strong weapon, effective at multiple ranges, strong when aiming down the sights and from the hip, with varying fire rates. However, it lacks spectacle to give it that exotic feeling, which is something we've been talking about. It kind of plays just like any other gun. To address this, we started with giving the projectiles explosive rounds as their default impact response. When you aim down sights, the weapon will perform the same: full auto, slow firing, high impact. So that's awesome from a distance. When firing from the hip, Skyburner's Oath now lobs slower projectiles at a faster rate of fire that tracks targets and explodes. The tracking functionality tends to draw projectiles to center mass rather than to precision regions, so we reduce the precision scaler a bit and increase damage to the body. Precision hits still do bonus damage, and overall DPS is increased. The end result is a dual utility weapon that fires hit scan, high damage projectiles while aiming down sights, and rapid fire lobbed, exploding, tracking projectiles from the hip. It almost feels like a rapid fire grenade launcher that can transition to a precision death dealer with the press of a button. Brent, what do you think about what they've done to Skyburner's Oath, man?
Dude, that might have been one of the sexiest descriptions I've ever heard of in Destiny. I enjoy the Skyburner's Oath. I like it because of its pretty versatile right now as it is. Like you said,
yeah.
If you fire from the hip, it's like a full auto, scout rifle. And then if you aim down the sights, it does slug damage, which is more damage, especially on those precision shots. It's really nice. This, essentially, you almost don't even need to pack like a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher. You can essentially run in here with an origin story, a Skyburner's Oath, and a shotgun, and you're covered, dude. You're covered for every situation. Long range with down the sights. You can use from the hip for explosive damage. You can use the origins for whatever and shotguns for up close. This thing becomes extremely versatile in all manners and all situations, and I am hyped because I already like this gun. This gun now looks badass.
Yeah. I mean, just think about the possibilities that opens up for you. Like you said, if you can essentially have a scout rifle and a grenade launcher in that middle slot, and then free up that last slot for a shotgun or a sword or something like that, like your loadout becomes that much more versatile because of what the Skyburner can do. So yeah, that's great, man. I can't wait to see that thing in action as well. They weren't done though, Brent. Next up, Rat King, which already has something of a fan base, but definitely has room to improve. I'm reading from the Bungie blog now. Of the stats that improve with more fire team members running Rat King, the strongest is probably the increased rate of fire. Unfortunately, the DPS potential is hard to realize because some people just can't physically pull the trigger fast enough to cash in on this benefit, or don't know to try. To make sure this is both felt and used, we made Rat King full auto to ensure the rate of fire increase can make a difference when running in a pack. Another pain point was the restriction of having Rat Pack only activate when allies have Rat Kings equipped in hand. It felt a bit too situational. The Rat Pack perk now triggers when fire team members have Rat King slotted as their kinetic weapon, stowed, or in hand. We also front-loaded the stat benefits of Rat Pack so they increase a bit more drastically with 1 or 2 fire team members, and upped the base invisibility timer of Vermin to 7 seconds. So if you remember, Rat King makes you invisible when you fire it as well. Last but not least, and not to overly tease, but why not, I'm going to tease. The Masterwork upgrade for Rat King is going to put a tasty garnish on this meal you won't want to miss out on.
Oh, boy.
So there's a couple things here, Brent. So first of all, your thoughts on Rat King. The video they showed of this with a group of 6 Rat King owners just eviscerating the start of the raid, the Cabal group that's at the front of the palace there, was pretty sick, man.
Yeah. That looked awesome. I have the Rat King. I haven't used it very much, and now we have a reason to make sure we at least have it in our inventory when we jump into a mission. Because, like you said, these guys they just completely wipe out this entire group of Cabal in a matter of seconds. And the fact that that's in there now, the Rat King as a group, especially in raids, is going to be incredibly, incredibly useful.
Yeah, I mean, just to see how fast that thing was firing was pretty incredible, man. And then how about that last sentence that they threw in here? The Masterwork upgrade for Rat King is going to put a tasty garnish on this meal you won't want to miss out on. What do you think about that, man? Does that mean that Masterwork exotics are going to be a little bit different than legendary exotics? Is there going to be like a special perk available with these, or what do you think that means?
Man, I don't even know where to go with that, but that was incredibly interesting when I read that part. I was like, what are they getting at here? I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, that only makes sense. I mean, we have masterwork weapons and legendary, they create an orb with kills and whatnot. That's cool. But these are exotic weapons. There has to be something else to it for the masterwork stuff. I mean, exotic weapons are going to be even more exotic than legendary weapons. It only makes sense that masterwork exotics are even more exotic than masterwork legendaries.
Yeah. Very, very curious to see what that's all about, man. We're just a few scant weeks away from finding out what that's all about. But damn it, Bungie, you tease us to no end. So there's going to be more exotic weapons that are going to be previewed. I have no doubt we're going to see more little videos and little snippets that Bungie drops out during the week. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. And of course, we have the reveal of Season 3 coming up pretty soon here. So I imagine we'll learn more about it then as well.
This Tuesday, man.
This Tuesday,
it's
at
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Pacific time. I will be on lunch at work and and tuned in to see what's going on. Now, the exotic weapon stuff, as exciting as it is, that wasn't the only juicy thing in this week at Bungie, Brent. The other thing that they touched on is how they're changing power and how we reach power levels in with the Warmind expansion. This is very, very interesting stuff here. So I want to read some of the stuff from the Bungie blog here. So this is Daniel Oceanpaw. He's a senior designer with Bungie. He was on the blog this week talking about how they're looking to change the way that you upgrade and power up your Guardian with the expansion too. So Daniel had this to say. Last time I was here, I talked about our adjustments to the raid rewards. This time, I want to talk about some more broad changes we're making to the reward structure of Destiny 2. One of the things we did when Destiny 2 launched was make the climb to the power cap fast and easy for everyone, which obviously we've noticed. Obviously, it's been an issue with the community. It didn't matter who you were or what your playstyle was, the road to the cap was quick and accessible for everyone. The result was that achieving the cap felt less satisfying. It was easy and there weren't any activities that dared to require it. So think about that, Brent. When you think back to our time with Destiny 1, there was a point where you'd reach where you couldn't get any higher unless you got into the raid. Right? You had to get in there, you had to get the raid gear in order to get your power up. There's none of that with Destiny 2. You could simply just, farm flash points or whatever you needed to do in order to get to the power cap. So it just didn't have the same feeling as it did in Destiny 1. So Daniel continues on. With the release of Destiny 2 Expansion 2 Warmind, we're making some changes to the size and frequency of upgrades. These changes will apply to all of Destiny 2, not just the Warmind endgame content. Our goals with this change are to bring back meaning and accomplishment to achieving the power cap, to give players a sense of progression when they come back to play each week, and to reward players who engage in a broader scope of the Destiny 2 endgame content. We've made an effort to de-emphasize grinding public events for exotics and to reduce the impact of clan engrams on endgame progression. So before we get into specifics, Daniel goes on, I want to define a couple of terms so we're on common ground. The soft cap is the point you can climb to easily via drops from any source. The hard cap is the power level you can obtain from weekly reward sources. The soft cap for Warmind is 340. So right now, Brent, the soft cap is 330, basically. So 10 points higher for Warmind. And the hard cap is 380. So that's significantly higher than where we're at right now. These numbers don't consider any plus 5 mods, so 385 will be the max light level or power level once the Warmind expansion comes out. Remember that all drops are calculated using your best possible power, regardless of if you have the gear equipped or not. It can be in the vault or on another character. So our target is that players who participate in all the weekly activities should take several weeks to reach the hard cap. Raids trials grant the largest increases, clan engrams provide very small increases, and the other weekly sources fall between those two. Players who don't participate in any group weekly activities are unlikely to hit the hard cap before the next release. Dedicated omnivore players, I love that term, by the way, omnivore players, the guys that take in everything, will hit it before players that just play raids or trials exclusively. Additionally, the final 10 points from 370 to 380 will be significantly slower than 340 to 370. We expect it to take players roughly equal time to go from 340 to 370 as from 370 to 380.
Wow.
We decided to make this change because climbing to 370 allows you to tackle endgame content without suffering a severe underlevel penalty, but it creates a significant accomplishment in achieving 380. So just to flesh that out there. So what they're saying is once you get to 370, you won't be locked out of any of the endgame content. You can do trials, raids, whatever it is that you want to do. But getting to 380 now feels like more of an accomplishment because it's such a grind to get from 370 to 380 while you're doing all that endgame content. So Daniel continues on. Clan engrams offer excellent upgrades while a player is climbing to the soft cap. They should grant rewards an average of 15 power higher than your current best possible while you're on the way there. This will help players catch up with their clanmates who are completing weekly activities. Once you've achieved the soft cap, your progress is going to rely a lot more on your own achievements. Clan engrams above the soft cap will grant gear only 0 to 2 points above your best possible. In an effort to combat exploits around creating new characters to take advantage of one-time quest rewards, we've decided to limit those rewards to the soft cap for the release they first appeared in. So this means Destiny 2 launch quests will cap at 260, Curse of Osiris caps at 300, and Warmind caps at 340. To compensate for their new caps, they'll give you a large boost of 15 power when you earn them as long as you're below that cap. Farming exotics to increase your power has been removed. If they drop from a non-weekly source, they'll come out of the engram at the same power as a legendary would after you've gotten to the soft cap. We believe the changes to quest rewards and exotic farming will ensure the most effective way to reach the power cap is to play the most challenges and social weekly activities. Whew. So that's a mouthful there, Brent. But there's a lot of information in there. So let me get your thoughts on this, man. What do you think about what Bungie's planning to do with power levels with the Warmind expansion?
Well, I like what they're trying to do. They're trying to give you incentive to grind. Okay, you're going to have to grind, especially to get from 370 to 380. You're going to have to really grind. Now, in order for that to happen, it's on Bungie to give us stuff to do. Give us a reason to grind. And that's what we're going to find out probably this week at the reveal, all the stuff we're going to be able to do in the Warmind. We're going to talk about these new events that we're going to be able to try out with friends. Could it be something like Prison of Elders? That would get me to grind. So if they want to make this a tougher grind, if they want to make you earn it, that's cool. But Bungie knows they have to have content. They have to have reasons for us to grind. And those things are exotic weapons, new exotic weapons with masterworks. I mean, there's going to be stuff in there, but they have to have content in order to supply or to demand this type of grind.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. And there's a very fine line that they have to walk here, Brent. Like they could go too far into the grind, and then people are like, "Am I ever going to hit 380? Am I ever going to get to 371?" Like they could go too far in that direction. So there's a very fine line they have to walk through here, and hopefully, over the last 4 years, they've learned like what the Destiny players want in terms of grind and in terms of reward. So hopefully they can find that balance. It's very tricky, but they do have 4 years of data to go on now. But I do like the way this sounds. I do want to have that feeling that when you hit the level cap, that you've really achieved something, in this game. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in action with the Warmind. And man, yeah, I'm very curious to see what these activities are going to be. If there's going to be anything like you said, like the Prison of Elders. There's pretty much was a fake leak by all accounts, but there's been some talk of this deep stone crypt on the ice caps of Mars, and it sounds awesome, man. I hope this thing eventually comes to be something. But it's like a tower of bosses that you ascend and try to get to the top of it, and eventually get the rewards that entails. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this real quick. Since they're putting such an emphasis on your power level and making it feel super appealing, make you feel a sense of accomplishment by getting to 380, which will, everyone's 335 right now. You can get to 335 relatively easy.
Yeah.
And that kind of, you don't have that upper echelon of player. You don't have that creme de la creme, the guys and girls who are really working their asses off. Mm-hmm. When you see that, it's going to be very difficult from 370 to 380, and you're going to have that differential in power between players. Do you think maybe this could come into play, bringing Iron back power levels back? Because you're going to have people who are legit 380, 385, who have been working their asses off, and what better way to reward them than go into an Iron Banner where they are the highest level, and then they can actually, it actually feels like that they're badass. That just makes me wonder, could this be something they're inching towards?
Man, I would love it if they do. Obviously I loved that aspect of Iron Banner in Destiny 1. And hell, even though we suck at trials, I mean, just to have that in there too, I feel like for those guys, like those high level players that are in trials, like I feel like they would love to have their hard work on display as well when they're going into trials each and every week. So I would be all for that, man. I don't know if that's in the cards. If it is, I'll be excited.
I'm just saying they want to put a.
I mean the setup is there.
They want you to feel accomplished. That would make me feel accomplished if I go into Iron Banner at 385 and there's only a few of us at 385. That just sounds awesome, dude.
Yeah, definitely. cool. Yes, I'm really excited to see how that all plays out, man. Like I said, I hope they're able to just find that balance. If they do, then it's going to be exciting to kind of grind through the Warmind DLC for sure. All right, Brent. So let's wrap this up now. One of the things I want to touch on as we're wrapping up here is the Bungie Community Summit. So if you follow anybody in or around Destiny, or you follow Bungie, you've seen them talking about this Community Summit. A lot of the they basically Bungie invited a number of prominent content creators or people that have played Destiny over the years, brought them into the Bungie studios, and basically had them over there for a couple days to talk the future of Destiny. So here's a little message from Deej in the blog here. Thursday and Friday will be honored. This was prior to this taking place. We'll be honored and humbled to host a small but insightful sampling of the community here in our studio. They'll be here to give us their opinions on our goals and our plans. Some of them you know, some of them we know. We want you to know that this is not the only way we're gathering feedback about Destiny 2. And these are not the only people we're listening to about the game. The summit will be about collaboration. Our best conversations will be about the future. This isn't a marketing event. There will be no reveals this week. We're not streaming while they're here. They won't have a wealth of news to report once our time together is over. They'll be welcome to report on the mood from the gathering and to tell you what they told us. We'd ask you not to press them for promises on what the state of Destiny 2 will be in the months to come. So, I follow a lot of these guys that went to this summit, and the reaction has been extremely positive, Brent. Like
Nice.
a number of them have been like, I'm really, really excited about the future of Destiny 2. From what I can gather, the September DLC update was kind of the focus of this community summit, was what Bungie's planning for this big update, where they're going with Destiny, and to gather the feedback from the community. So I'm excited, man, to hear that the people that the really like hardcore Destiny fans seem like they're excited about where Bungie's going and where this thing is going to end up once we hit September, a year into Destiny 2. I mean, what do you think when you hear stuff like that, man? When you hear the community getting excited about this big update?
Dude, I'm actually of two minds about this. First, this sounds awesome because I know the Destiny 2 community is very passionate about Destiny. And when you hear about this type of summit where they bring in the best players of the game and the biggest fans of the game and to get their feedback and stuff, and you hear this positive feedback from them after this event has gone over, it went over so well, they really enjoyed it. It reminds me of when SOCOM 4, before it came out, they brought in a group of guys to talk to them. And they those same guys came and said, "Oh yeah, it's a great game." And then it comes out and it was trash. So I'm tainted when I hear about these types of summit meetings or whatever. But this is Destiny 2. It's obviously a different beast altogether. But to hear the positive feedback from these gamers and what they saw and how they feel about the future of Destiny 2, they're very excited for it. So that just makes me excited for it.
That's hilarious that we just played 6 Degrees of SOCOM with Destiny. That's awesome, man. But just to hear stuff like hear something from True Vanguard. The burden to secure Destiny's future rests on the shoulders of the devs, but I've never felt more confident about Destiny's future than I do now. Hopefully, they've gathered some great insight into our community and can really deliver in September an experience unparalleled. So, I mean, he seems to echo much of what I've read about the summit. So these guys are going to be making some videos about their experiences as well. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that and see. Obviously, they can't tell us what they viewed, but I'm really curious to kind of get their like hard-nosed feedback about the summit. But I love that Bungie's doing this. I love that they've kind of just reinvented the way that they engage with the community, and it's good to see, man. And I have high hopes for where this game's going to be come September with everything that they've talked about. But before September, Brent, Warmind will be revealed Tuesday, once again, April 24th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So make sure you are there on their Twitch channel, see what it's all about. You and I will be back definitely next week to talk about what we see in Warmind. We might have to move Tower Talk up earlier in the week to talk about this, because I'll be excited to see what they show. But I don't know, man. Any final thoughts? What are you hoping to see from this Warmind reveal?
Just content, dude. I want to see. I want some kind of new event to play through, whether it's a Prison of Elders type of thing, or like you mentioned, that the tower thing they were talking about. That'd be pretty sweet. Something that just give us something that is new, unique, that's fresh, that's challenging, that I can play with my friends, that we're gonna want to go back into every single night to earn the rewards that are locked behind it. I want to hear more about this planet Mars. I want to know what we're gonna be doing there. What kind of public events we're gonna have there. Hopefully, it's a little bit bigger than Mercury. What we saw there, it's Mars, so it should be. So there's just a lot I want to see, man. man. So I'll be sitting down 1 p.m. Eastern time, ready to go, ready to check out this stuff, man.
Will you be disappointed if we don't have a new enemy race?
You know, the enemy race is something I'd really like to see, but at this point, I just want stuff to do. You know, if it's different variations of current enemies that we have, I'll be happy with that. If it's a new enemy race, then dude, awesome. But
yeah.
I just want a robust expansion, a bunch of stuff to do, new modes, and then obviously all the exotic stuff that we're getting, the exotic change, the sandbox changes there.
Yeah. I echo everything you said, man. Can't wait till Tuesday to watch the reveal. I'm excited for it. So thanks everybody for watching the video. Follow us on Twitter at thedude1979, at Piccolo930. Follow us at The Short Pause. Visit the website, www.shortpause.com. We'll be back next week to talk about the Warmind reveal. We're jacked. Hopefully you're jacked up for it. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
See ya.